staring back at him, and he understood that he would live or die on a slave's bed. Several more surgeons filed in and examined Howard's elbow until it was agreed. When the worst of the day's heat passed, the arm would have to be amputated. It was 11 in the morning. He had 6 hours to wait. The first time Howard had faced muskets and cannon, a year earlier at Bull Run, he had experienced a jolt of fear, immediately followed by feelings of shame for being weak and afraid. He prayed. "I lifted my soul and my heart," he later wrote, and cried, "Oh God, enable me to do my duty." From that point on, men would speak of Howard's unsettling calm in a fight. Even so, enduring the slow hours leading up to his amputation was far worse than battle. The air inside the hut was humid and musty. It had poured rain 2 days before, and nothing was completely dry. Doctors were performing minor surgeries outside. Occasionally someone would remark to a passerby that General Howard was inside the hut, soon to be relieved of his right arm. Otis Howard knew from long experience that he could overcome any manner of affliction. His beloved father had died in 1840 when he was 10. At 12, he left his mother and brothers to live with an uncle and eventually boarded at a school 40 miles from the family home in Leeds, Maine. Through constant study, he made it to Bowdoin College at age 16. After graduating near the top of his class in 1850, he was offered a commission to West Point. From the very first cannon blast that roused him out of bed at 5 in the morning, the Academy's hazing and harsh discipline and seeming celebration of what Howard called the coarse and profane were a constant affront. Ostracized and tormented by pedigree classmates such as Custis Lee, son of the Post Superintendent Robert E. Lee, Howard worked and sometimes fought until he demanded their respect, eventually graduating 4th out of 46. As a junior officer, he had to start over once more, posted at the end of 1856 to bleak and febrile Tampa, Florida. What he experienced there, radical and profound, would define the rest of his life. More than 1,000 miles from his pregnant wife Lizzie and his baby boy Guy, with loneliness and melancholy tugging and burning in his heart, he went to a Methodist meeting and abruptly experienced a spiritual awakening that left him trembling like a leaf. "The choking sensation was gone," he wrote his wife, "and for once I enjoyed present happiness. I was saved through the goodness and mercy of Christ." Barely able to sleep, feeling what he called a new wellspring within me, a joy, a peace, and a trusting spirit, Howard became convinced that God plucked my feet from the mire and placed them on the rock for a reason. Out of a life of struggle and redemption, he now knew that a greater purpose awaited him. "While I am humiliated in view of a being so great, so just and good," he wrote home, "I cannot help rejoicing that he has so honored me, that he has granted me such a big boon." It was like a waking dream. When the Southern states seceded in 1861, the 30-year-old Howard had been planning to leave the Army and go to seminary. Again his path revealed itself. The national call to arms would be his higher calling, blessed by God and nurtured by his constant prayer. He saw the transcendent possibilities of government service. Now he would help realize God's kingdom on earth by devoting himself to the noble cause of union. Elected colonel of a Maine regiment, a month after the bombardment of Fort Sumter, Howard introduced himself to the volunteers and immediately started talking about the 10 Commandments. One of his soldiers wrote in a diary that Howard had the tone and manner of an itinerant preacher. Showing a singular, meticulous, and even cheerful devotion to executing his orders, Howard was given command of a brigade before ever facing the enemy. During the war's first year, he spent far more time out of battle than in. At his camp 3 miles west of Alexandria, Virginia, the struggle for the souls and sobriety of his men came to eclipse the remote military objectives of Army command. Moreover, the whole nature of the war seemed to change as men, women, and children appeared in his camp, seeking to escape lives of bondage. Although a decade earlier Howard's Southern rivals at West Point had accused him of being an abolitionist, initially he did not equate the Union